Hey everyone, Dave here, and I've got 10 Joker knives here that I'm going to be ranking for bushcraft. Starting with number 10, the Joker Artica. This is a really well-made lock-back folding knife that comes at a reasonable price. It is 14C28N and it comes with a Scandi grind. The reason why it's number 10 is simply that I don't think folding knives are particularly that good for a bushcraft knife if it's going to be your main knife. And that's why this guy ranks in at number 10. Because honestly, your main bushcraft belt knife should be a fixed blade knife, not a folding knife. That doesn't mean that you can't make this guy work. It would pair really well with one of these larger knives that I will show shortly. And it can pair well with a hatchet. So it's still a functional tool. It's number 10 on the list for me simply because it's a folding knife. Coming in at number 9 on this list is the Joker Oso TS1. This is a really well-made knife. It's got a nice saber grind. The handle is really well done. It fills the hand nicely. You can get a nice purchase on it. It's very comfortable. Comes with black liners, green micarta on the version that I have. The Oso is N695 stainless steel. The main reason why this guy is number 9 on this list is because it is a recurve knife, and it's a fairly small recurve knife. I would recommend if you're going for a recurve knife to maybe check out a Kukri, something that's larger and has more chopping power. It doesn't mean that this knife isn't functional or good in the woods. It's actually pretty good at feather sticking and doing all the bushcraft tasks. Simply that I just think a recurve at this size is unnecessary. I would much rather have a standard grind here, and this would be way higher on the list if it did. Coming in at number 8 on this list is actually one of my favorite knives to bring out, surprisingly. But for a bushcraft knife, the simple reason is that the Joker Erizo is pretty small. I really enjoy the micarta and grind on this guy. He's a little bit thick for a small knife. I think it's close to 4 millimeters thick. The grind makes up for it though. It's pretty good at feather sticking and carving and doing your whittling tasks. It does pair well with the larger knives over here. And the handle is just big enough for me to get a full purchase on it. I know some of you guys that have big paws will not get 4 fingers on this guy. I can barely manage it. Otherwise, this knife would not be coming out with me. Also, in general, it's just a bit too small for a bushcraft knife as a main belt knife, even though I personally really like this one and bring this one out a lot. The Joker Erizo has N695 steel. As far as the 14C versus the N695, I don't notice too much of a difference in the forest, but I would prefer if all of these knives were probably just 14C28N to make it a lot simpler. It tends to be a tougher steel, and in theory, in practice, I really don't notice much of a difference. I end up sharpening all of them roughly, when I come back from an overnight. I touch up all of my knives anyways, and all of these steels last long enough to do like a night or two in the woods without sharpening. So to me, it's not a big deal whether it's N695 or 14C28N, but my personal preference would be a 14C28N in all of these knives. Number 7 on this list, we got the Joker Nessmuk. My particular version has an antler handle, and it's got the saber grind instead of the Scandi grind, which is better. The saber grinds are better for the thickness of these stocks. If you want a little bit of flair out in the woods, this is definitely one to bring out. The main reason why it's number 7 on this list is that the handle here isn't quite as comfortable as all these other handles here. It feels like you're just lacking a little bit of depth to the handle just in this section here. It does make it so the lines of the knife look really nice as far as the curves go. But in general, this style of handle is not as comfortable as one that would have a palm swell here. So the handle is just lacking a little bit. And I notice it when I'm doing feather sticks and doing some carving tasks. But otherwise, this knife performs really well as a bushcraft knife, as a belt knife. I think that you pick up this knife because you like the aesthetics of it, and it functions really well, but it's not as high up the list because the handle isn't quite as nice as the other ones, and the blade shape is a little bit funky to use in the woods, but it's not the biggest deal, honestly. In the comment section below, please list your favorite Joker out of the 10 that I've shown here. And if you have a different model, let me know in the comments which model you have and the reasons why you like it, because I know that there's plenty of other models out there, and I wish I had them all, but I don't. And if you do, let me know if they are worth taking a look at. Coming in at number 6, we got the Joker Nordico. This knife is 14C 28 end, and I got the curly birch handles, which look beautiful. My version here, I've significantly modified. I made the Scandi grind higher up, and I got rid of the triangle piece at the bottom. The main reason why I reground this Scandi is because it performs better than the lower Scandi it had on previously, which I still have the original Scandi grind on my Joker Ember, which I can compare. And basically between like these two grinds, the grind that I did on the Joker Nordico performs a lot better for the thickness of the knife. Being close to 4 millimeters thick, it is better to have a higher Scandi grind or a saber grind than going with your traditional Scandi grind because it doesn't bite into the wood as well. The handle is quite nice. It does have a quite nice like puko feel to it. And I made it even more of a puko because I took off the, triangle little guard there and kind of turned it into my own puko knife. And it's now become like a really good bushcraft knife. But the original Nordico that's not modified isn't as good as the version that I made. So right in the middle, number 5 is the Joker Ember in 14C 28N. This one's got wood handles. Overall, I do prefer the micarta handles that Joker offers than the wood ones. I think they look cooler. I think they do better in like wet environments, and they have a better feel to them than wood. That's my personal opinion, but there's nothing wrong in getting a wood handle. You just might have to oil them up a little bit more and take care of them. The reason why this knife is not higher on the list, this could really be number 1 on the list. It's simply to do with the Scandi grind. The stock thickness is a little bit too thick for the Scandi grind. But that doesn't mean this knife can't do those things. It could just be a little bit better. At number 4, we got the big boy of the bunch. We got the Joker Nomad 6.5, the Joker XL. I really enjoy this knife. I love the convex grind. It performs exceptionally well. It's really good at even doing feather sticks. The grind is better at doing feather sticks than the Scandi grind from like the Ember. If you got big hands, you might want to consider getting one of the Nomads because the handles are really nice. The knives feel really well balanced. This one here, it's actually a little bit heavy towards the blade, which is good for chopping. The reason why this is number 4 on the list is because the size of the Joker Nomad is like just a little bit big for a bushcraft knife. I tend to bring this when I want to like play in the forest and have fun, to do some like hacking and slashing, shelter building, and have a nice like knife to protect myself from bears or whatever. The bigger knife is a bit more of like a fun toy, even though it is like really functional and it performs really well in the woods. It's not as good at your crafting tasks. It's not as good at doing the fine motor control carving and the feather sticks, even though it can do it, and it's pretty good at it actually. The smaller knives here are just better at doing the crafting tasks than a knife of this size. The Joker Nomad is N695 stainless steel, and it's quite the beast of a knife. I'm really happy that I have it, and it's super fun. For some people, this would be number 1 on their list over the other ones. It just depends what kind of flavor of knife you're looking for. So coming in at number 3, we got the little brother. We got the Nomad, the original version, the first version that came out. It's got the convex grind. It's got nice thick stock thickness, but the convex grind being high up and coming down, it actually functions really well on wood still. It can do some really nice feather sticks. It's a beast of a knife, but it's more packable and lighter than its big brother. And that's why I think it's just slightly higher on like the bushcraft here, because it's a little bit easier to carry around. It's a little bit closer to the standard range of a classic bushcraft knife. But if you have big hands and you're a big dude, you will like having a big knife like this. I promise you, the handle is sweet. It's nice and thick. Coming in at number 2, we got the Joker Campero, the only flat grind that I have out of the bunch. And this is a really awesome flat grind knife. Very nice micarta handle, very comfortable neutral handle in multiple positions. You have a sharpening choil, which a lot of the other knives here don't have sharpening choils. I honestly wouldn't change a thing about this knife. I like the kind of like clip point here. The style and looks of this knife make it a great camp knife. It's a perfect size as well. The grind is done really nicely for a flat grind. This actually feather sticks better than the Joker Ember and the Joker Nordico with the Scandi grind. And if you are a fisherman, a hunter, or just, general camp tasks around like a normal campsite, this knife will be better than all the other knives here because of the flat grind. It's very slicey. Number 1 on the list, we got the Joker Lynx in N695 steel with micarta handles on this guy here. So I think the Joker Lynx is the best bushcraft knife out of these 10 over here because it's got a really nice saber grind, which is the right grind in my opinion for the stock thickness. Because it just makes feather sticks and your general camp tasks a lot better. It can perform pretty well at slicing tasks too. It's not quite as good as the flat grind from the Campero, but it's significantly better than the Joker Ember as a Scandi grind on doing feather sticks and carving. I also think that it's the perfect size for a bushcraft knife. It's right in that sweet spot as far as length of the handle and length of the cutting edge. I do wish it had a sharpening choil, but that's something that you could easily put in yourself with a file. But mainly the handle is really well done, neutral, and it doesn't have any sharp points as far as when you're holding it in different grips. It's nice and thick while having a decent palm swell. So it fills the hand well, and it's more than enough room if you have a bigger hand to get your full hand on it. But also another reason why I really like this guy here is that I got the Kydex version of this knife, and because my environment is super wet, having the Kydex version is just a bit better in super wet environments. I don't have to think about dealing with my leather and taking care of it. Also, a lot of my leather sheaths get like banged up and scratched up because I'm hiking through thick salal out in my forest. It's very like condensed, and I'm going through like waist height bushes and stuff very often, which scratches and dings up all my leather sheaths. It's just part of the nature of where I live. That's why it's number 1 on this list.